Hello, welcome back to CinemaBurger, where I bring you movie reviews from a different perspective. We're winding down our 2020 movie catch-up as we continue today with the movie Songbird. Yes, I did a trailer reaction for this about a month or two ago. This is the COVID movie that Hollywood made during COVID. It was not like it was an existing movie that had not been released before the lockdown and pandemic happened. Hollywood made this movie, they wrote it, they filmed it over the summer during COVID, hoping that people would want to see a movie about what's going on right now while it's going on. Now, the movie stars KJ Apa, Sophia Carson, Bradley Whitford, Demi Moore, also Craig Robinson, Alexandra Daddario, and Paul Walter Hauser. Now, the movie takes place 4 years into the pandemic, and it's COVID-23, they call it, and it is sweeping the world still. In America, there's like quarantine camps. Now, only a couple of people are immune, so some people work as couriers, delivering products and packages to people. Every house has like a COVID, like a sanitation thing that they put all packages through that determine if it's safe or not. Every morning there's an app on people's phones they have to check in to make sure their temperature is right and they're safe and they're not sick. There's something called the Department of Sanitation that if people are sick, they take them to these quarantine camps where God knows what happens to them. So that's the premise. It's like it's one of your typical virus movies, except the fact that it's happening similar to what's happening in the real world hits a little too close to home. Now, I don't know what Hollywood was thinking making a movie about coronavirus during coronavirus. Like, first of all, people mostly go to the movies to escape reality, so why would they want to go see this movie based on what's happening in real life? With movie theaters and a lot of movies being pushed back and delayed as it is, did Hollywood really think that people would want to go see a movie about this? Like, come on. Movie was finished in August of 2020, it got released in December. Now, because of the straight-to-demand things, about a month or two later, or actually the same day, a lot of movies are getting released the same day on streaming to rent for a price as they are in theaters. Now, if you wait about a month or so, the movies will be available to rent for about $5.99 as opposed to the $19.99. So, yes, of course I waited to this because I was surprised to see what happens in this movie and what they thought would be appeal audiences to come see this movie about what's really happening. So people who are immune have yellow bracelets, and about 0.1% of people are immune in the world. KJ Apa stars as the pretty protagonist who is a courier. He delivers packages. He has a somewhat girlfriend played by Sophia Carson, who is also young and pretty, and the movie tries to focus on them. But, of course, the main characters in this movie are the least interesting. It's all the side characters who are more interesting, but they also have one-note personalities. You have Bradley Whitford and Demi Moore. They're a rich couple. They make money on the black market selling, like, fake immune bracelets to people. Alexandra Daddario is like a social media personality, and she also is like a stripper, kind of, because Bradley Whitford's character leaves his house to go, like, have an affair with this young model, but it's just, like, so creepy because they're wearing masks, and, like, she's dressed as a nurse, and it's just trying to, like, it's in such poor taste. Everything about this movie is in such poor taste. It's so cringy, I hate it. But I couldn't look away at the same time. Now, Craig Robinson's character is like in charge of one of these courier companies or services. He tells people what to deliver. Now, what's really funny and just random is that Craig Robinson's phone tone is his own voice saying, "Pick up the phone! Pick up the phone!" For some reason, that just struck me as like really funny because it's so random and weird and out of nowhere that I laugh every time it happens. Now, Peter Stormare plays the head of the sanitation department. He's in charge of taking people to the quarantine zones who are infected or sick. Now, Sophia Carson lives with her mother or grandmother, and she gets sick, of course, so they try to take her. But, and KJ Appa makes a deal with Peter Staremore to try to get bracelets, because he finds out that Bradley Whitford is, like, in the business of selling these bracelets because Craig Robinson tells him. So, Bradley Whitford has to go find this kid or something and stop him. And Demi Moore knows that he's been cheating all this time with the younger girl, Alexandra Daddario, so she ends up killing him because she's had enough or whatever. Now, even though Bradley Whitford and Demi Moore, they're not, like, immune, they keep leaving, or he keeps leaving, and it's like, you're gonna infect everybody, but whatever. So now Alexandra Daddario, she, like, talks to her fans and stuff, and one of them is a guy working for Craig Robinson. He's a disabled army vet. It's played by Paul Walter Hauser. He was in the movie about the Boston bombing years ago, and he's been in a lot of other movies. Now, since he was disabled and stays in the house pre-COVID, as a way to try to connect with him, Alexandra Daddario tries to say, like, oh, it's like you were made for quarantine. So she's trying to compare a disabled war veteran, like, to staying inside because of COVID, which is really inappropriate. And just in poor taste, just like everything in this movie. And, like, the script just feels very, like, cookie cutter, like, very, like, going through the motions. Nothing about this is memorable. It's, for the most part, boring. It's not even, like, over-the-top funny, except for the scenes with Bradley Whitford and Alexandra Daddario, especially, like, their affair scene that was hilarious, but not in a funny way. And basically, the two main characters, they break all the rules because they're in love, which is stupid and annoying. But, of course, all the older, ugly people die, and all the young, pretty people survive. Alexandra Daddario, I believe, kills Bradley Whitford. I think I said Demi Moore did earlier, but it was the other girl. Now, Bradley Whitford, I guess, because he's been creepy in, like, the movie Get Out, so I guess they thought he was perfect for this movie, which makes sense. Bradley Whitford is really good at playing creepy white guys who are trying to fit in. Now, as the movie ends, all the protagonists are victorious, and there's, like, a never give up message, and then, like, some pop song plays, but it's like, what was the point of this movie? Did Hollywood really think people would want to see this movie? Especially because it's so relatable to what's happening right now. Like, I didn't check how much this movie made, but I doubt it was that much. It has, like, a horrible Rotten Tomato score, even though I really don't play into that as much. But it's like, why'd they make this movie? Like, I know Hollywood is desperate right now with movies being delayed and pushed back, and especially with all the Warner Brother movies going to HBO Max the same day. But it's like, trying to cash in on this is not the right way to do it. I mean, I know movies imitate real life, but this was not a good way to go. Now, there's another movie coming out about a couple in lockdown who falls in love. It's on HBO Max. I'm going to review that at some point, but I feel like it's going to be the same thing. It's trying to cash in on COVID, but we'll get to that another time. In terms of Songbird, I give it a 0.5 out of 5 burgers. Don't waste your time with this movie. I did, so you don't have to. But it's not even, like, for the most part, like, funny bad. There's, like, one or two scenes that are unintentionally funny, and the rest is just boring and generic. So do not watch Songbird. I've been Scott Berger, and I'll see you next time.